Intro.
I'll mute myself.
Okay, hello everybody. Welcome back to the Reinventing the Tattoo community. We're beaming out from the mobile app. It's on the phone here. And now is a great time to let us know if this is actually working for you and let us know where you're beaming in from. Possibly share it around a little bit if you've been here before. If you are an artist, then get ready to find the Zoom link so that you can zoom in and join us. So this is the 1 o'clock Sunday afternoon Reinventing Drawing Group led by Jason Leeser. And we have Casey Hart joining us today. And like I said, you're welcome to grab that Zoom link. Download the Reinventing mobile app from either the stores, Android or Apple. And then if you go to the events section, you can click on the Zoom in. If you're watching the replay, then sit back and enjoy. People dig it. I do want to talk about the different. So we are streaming out on both YouTubes and on a whole mess of Facebooks. And like I said, thanks again for letting us know how it's working for you. I want to let you know about a couple of upcoming events because we realize if we don't tell people about the events, then you don't know about the events, and they're awesome, and there's a lot of work, and they're here thanks to our sponsors and to all the artists that are contributing. So let's see, other events that we have coming up. Jake Meeks is doing a Reinventing Drawing Group, 9 o'clock in the morning every Monday. 9 o'clock every Monday night, Guy Aitchison is leading a Reinventing subscriber exclusive group lesson. So if you are a paid subscriber to Reinventing, it's very reasonable. Not only do you have access to the full course and the canon, but every Monday there's exclusive exercises. People zoom in like this. You get direct feedback from Guy and all sorts of other people. January 12th, we start the Tony Urbanic How to Build a Paul Rogers Prefab Tattoo Machine. It's a workshop, 8 webinars. The first one will be free. It's going to be a lot about safety and kind of the ingredients. But then for $300, you can 7 seminars, 2 hour live workshops, build a machine along with them. If you need the pieces parts mailed to you, there is also a package where you can do that. Tuesday night at 9 o'clock is an art night in Espanol. Hablamos de arte con Bruno. Sorry, my pronunciation's horrible, but if you speak Spanish, 9 o'clock Tuesday night, it'll be pretty awesome. Wednesday, January 13th at 10 a.m. Alex Van Dutch from World Tattoo Events is going to be interviewing Marco Leone, one of the very first, if not the first, Italian tattoo convention promoter. World Tattoo Events is like one of the premier destinations for tattoo conventions. I remember over like 10 years ago looking at the comprehensive nature of all of his listings, and instead of like making up our own comprehensive one, he has the list of all the conventions, and then we end up just listing the ones that our artists are participating in. Anyways, World Tattoo Events, that's Wednesday at 10 o'clock. He does it once a month. January 13th, yeah, that Wednesday night at 8 o'clock, we have Live in the Castro with Haley Adams and Jen. They're interviewing Ace Vincenzo, and they're awesome. They're interviewing LGBTQ, people of color, all sorts of great stories that you may or may not have heard yet. Anyways, that's it's happening once a month also, unless people keep requesting more. Tattoo Collecting Podcast every Thursday at 12 noon. Jordan Rookus and Fawn Baker interviewing tattoo collectors. It's always amazing whenever they send over the collectors' images to show during the live cast. It's always amazing tattoos. Last week was a client of Ty McEwen's. There's a fantasy paint art jam happening on Sunday, the 17th, with Leo. So there's so much going on all the time, and a lot of it is care of our sponsors. So, like I said, download the app or go to community.reinventingthetattoo.com and sign up, and you go to the events and you'll see listings. We have even more events. I don't think Nick Baxter is doing a still life workshop coming up, and I apologize to anybody that I missed. I'm doing this without a script. Okay, sponsors. Right now, our featured sponsor is Inkjet Stencils, and if you check out Andre Malcolm's work, either on the Reinventing app, I know you're sick of hearing me say it, but we're doing a lot of energy there. But you can check out Andre Malcolm anywhere, and he's got videos of himself printing out both sleeves, and like at this point, he's printing out full back pieces on an oversized printer. And you manipulate your images digitally, and then you print out your stencil. It's pretty sick stuff. Inkjet Stencils. Com. So I'm pretty sure this is working across all of the spots. I am going to kind of go into the background. I will pop back in sometimes when I hear a lull to read out people's comments from the chat room. So feel free to do that. And yeah, I probably forgot something, but again, forgive me. It's been a couple days. Uh, Take it away, Jason.
Cool. Hey, everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome back for another Sunday drawing group. Currently broadcasting through Reinventing the Tattoo. It's pretty open forum, nothing crazy today, just kind of relaxing. My friend Casey decided to join us today. Um, she's super awesome at more ornamental work, super, super clean stuff. Uh, does a whole lot of super tiny little stipple dot shading kind of designs, but I've seen her do everything and it's awesome. So, hey, Casey, welcome. Feel free to unmute yourself, say hello, jump on in.
Hi.
Um,
Hello. I'm so nervous.
oh, don't be. Just relax. You're only here talking to me, so it's not like there's 1,200 million people there. Oh, we just had someone join us from Serbia. That's awesome.
Hello.
And hello, Lorraine from Scotland, and the Netherlands. So cool. Looks like we're getting some decent people in. I'm just sitting here. I'm going to be working on drawing up a snake and chrysanthemum for a lower forearm piece that I just had someone book an appointment with me for yesterday. So it's not actually coming up for a little bit, but it's a good chance for me to go through and just kind of start doodling and drawing and getting some stuff together. I always like to just mark out, rough areas on what size I'm looking at, just as a rough kind of guide. And then I'm going to go through. I always debate with myself as to which is going to be the better way to do it. Should I start out with the snake and map that out, or do I want to go through and start mapping out the chrysanthemum first?
Decisions. So
Right.
many decisions.
Oh, hey, Dusty. Thanks for joining in from Kansas. Actually, a very good friend of mine just moved out to Kansas City. So, if you ever end up in Kansas City Hospital, it's which I hope doesn't happen. But if you ever do, let me know and I'll give you a good contact there.
Hmm.
Hey, Jesse, thanks a lot. I think I'm going to start out with the snake just because I want to make sure that's going to have the right flow to it. And of course, me being me, I'm probably going to go through and change my mind 6 million times.
Oh yeah, that's
But
me too.
right, it's like, how do you go through and, you know, I don't know. I just always end up second guessing myself as far as like flow goes and then overall composition. How do I want it to look? Where do I want the emphasis to be? Is it going to have the right flow on that body shape and style?
Yes,
Um, it's composition, something for me that is non-negotiable. If it doesn't have a strong composition and if it doesn't have the correct body flow, then it's dead in the water right off the bat.
I completely.
There's no getting around it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a
That's like
lot of the stuff that you do is like specifically designed for certain areas of the body. Like
it is.
what are some of the things you take into consideration there?
Definitely direction of the body. So, I try to keep to a traditional value, at least that things face in. So even when I'm drawing things that are not faces, I still like them to face inside the body. So if I'm doing some sort of like leafy component, I love that it flows in the inside direction. Um, and placement is absolutely everything. That's my first question. That's my first major consideration in the design, because if you were to look at my designs on paper, they look very curly. They're not square at all. They're very like this, and it kind of throws people off at first when I show them their drawing. They're like, wow, it's very S shaped. And I'm like, when I put it on you, it is going to be exactly in the flow of your body. So I definitely take a lot of attention into taking a picture of the body placement and throwing it into the iPad and drawing right on top of that placement. It's super helpful for me to get the flow of things. And then if I don't have that opportunity, I love to just stencil one or two major pieces and then freehanding all the extra stuff around it so that it flows in the right direction.
Yeah, I totally agree. I've taken a little bit of a different path with it though. What I end up doing is I actually go through and I'll measure out the dimensions of someone's arm. Unless they have an existing tattoo or, maybe some type of like a mole here or a birthmark or a scar that I have to work around. Um, Otherwise, I go through and I kind of plot out like, okay, what's the total length of this area? And then I'll measure out in individual increments, either 1 inches or 2 inches at a shot. And that way I can plot each individual like curvature when I
Mhm.
plot that all out in Photoshop. And I've got like a little specific way that I do that to get full sleeve templates, back templates that are specifically designed for that person's individual shape and body area. Now, the one thing that doesn't factor in is where are the major muscle groups?
Mhm.
So that always presents a little bit of a challenge, but generally speaking, I've never run into an issue where it's like, okay, well, this just definitely isn't going to flow with this part of the body.
Mhm.
Everything I try to design to have a um,
Versatile.
very angular, well,
Mm.
more of an angular composition.
Yep.
I try to incorporate as many diagonal lines as humanly possible, simply because when you put in diagonal lines into whatever it is you're designing, that's going to create movement. It's going to create flow and it's going to move your eye around a piece. The old masters and old oil painters, old Italian Renaissance artists, these are the people that really sat down and figured out, okay, well, if we do a whole bunch of diagonal lines, it's going to move the eye from this point to here to there, over to
Mhm.
here, and then back down to there.
Yep.
So I always try to incorporate as many diagonals as I can because that creates a natural visual sense of movement. So everything I do, you usually end up seeing a big X. Guy actually talks about this a lot as far as like a 3D figure eight.
Yes.
But most of the stuff I do, you can almost always see some kind of an X pattern
Mhm.
or some kind of a an S shaped pattern.
Mine's
You
always
know,
definitely almost always drawing an S shape first before I start pretty much anything, unless it's very symmetrical ornamental pieces. Those are pretty straight up and down. They
well,
don't.
yeah, but even when looking at your work, even with those symmetrical ornamental pieces, you can still see a natural S shape appearing in a lot of the work that you do.
Yeah.
And that automatically lends itself to creating a sense of depth and dimension, regardless of whether or not it's ornamental or if it's representational, whether it's black work. I mean, even tribal. If you look at early 90s tribal, which you know I personally, I like the design aspect of it, but I'm not a huge fan of actually tattooing it. I think there's
Mhm.
so many more interesting things you can do with areas of the body such as that. But even with stuff like that, you can see the general curves and S shapes that are naturally created. And if you look at the ones that are really truly successfully done, you oftentimes see almost a diagonal composition in a
Mhm.
lot of the stuff that they end up doing.
Yeah.
And it makes me wonder like if those people, that decide to get stuff like that, they're actually looking at some of the old Italian Renaissance masters, or even some of the great Dutch masters as well. Uh, Dutch masters, yes. Um, but they come in handy for so many different things. But it makes me wonder if, maybe when early 90s tribal was starting to come about, whether or not someone sat down and said, okay, well, if we do it like this, it's going to look way better than if we did it, kind of just like straight down,
Mhm.
because we all know that if we go in a very linear form, it's not going to look right on the body at all.
Right. There's nothing perfectly up, straight up and down on the body. To me, at least, I see circles. I see diagonals, like everything that you say. And I'm seeing those lines when I see somebody's body part. I am literally seeing them going this way, this way, this way, and then trying to make something that comes in between those. Look at that pretty snake. I do love those brushes for just getting a general.
Right. General sense and general idea. Maybe I'll tilt that a little bit more, but I think that should be a fair start.
Casey, is there any chance that you could turn your phone sideways?
Let me turn
Then
the AC.
the camera will fill up the whole thing. Yeah, perfect.
Sweet deal and a happy meal.
Sweet deal and a happy meal. That's a new one.
Nothing wrong with a sweet deal and a happy meal.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I still love myself a happy meal. Okay, I do. I do love happy meals. I will never deny that.
I will never deny it.
Ooh, I'm wicked excited. I think we just booked Travis Louis to talk about artists, painters, and shit.
Yes,
Really?
Yeah. Do you guys know Travis Louis?
I do not, but
He's out of control. This is all just
he's
still
out of control.
a vicious rumor until we. I mean, I guess like I said, he just confirmed. But here, I'll.
Now, Gabe, we don't really like vicious rumors.
Fair enough.
Because then
But
it's just like a tease.
regardless of whether he beams in or not, let's check out this.
Dude.
Oh,
All right.
Oh,
I'm excited.
way too cool.
So TravisLouisArt.com. He's got very affordable prints. All of his characters have so much energy and emotion. It's and he teaches at an art school. It's all online now, so people can take his art classes online and shit. But he's always, if you find him on Facebook, then every day really he's always posting up about another artist, and he's very knowledgeable. He's out of control. He's amazing. Look at this shit. It's out of control.
Oh my. Absolutely beautiful.
I wonder if he's. Does I take it that's digital?
No, that's not digital.
What?
No.
Oh man, I give
That's
up.
insane.
Curious People paintings. Ah!
Those are so cool. Oh
That
my
is
god,
absolutely insane.
I like the ghostly petals. That one's beautiful.
Yeah.
Gorgeous.
He shows artwork in Northampton at the William Basic Gallery, I believe. Is that where he shows stuff? That's right here in New England, if my neck of the woods. He's from, I believe he's in Connecticut. Yeah, yeah. I mean, it just goes on forever.
Oh, that one's cool.
Yes. You actually know quite a few really, really good artists up in Connecticut. There's a friend of mine that I met many years ago through someone I was dating in college. I actually helped stretch canvas for her to do her MFA. And she did these massive, like 6 foot by 8 foot canvases. And it was all inspired by dance. I know her first name is April. Yeah, what her last name is. It'll come to me.
Yeah,
But she did all of these amazing large scale acrylic paintings. And she's still living in Connecticut from what I understand. And the whole time I just remember looking at some of her stuff saying, why isn't this in a museum?
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I mean, granted, that's coming from like, you know, my own personal kind of perspective on what's going on and what I find myself visually attracted to, because everyone's got their own thing that they prefer visually. You know, it's kind of like having a taste.
Mm-hmm.
You know, some people like beer, some people don't like beer, some people like wine, some people like whiskey or scotch. You know,
some
some people
people
like
like beer,
vodka.
wine, whiskey, and scotch.
Yeah, there's a lot of
True.
Sorry.
You know, some people prefer psychedelics and some people prefer alcohol. It's a personal preference thing.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not knocking any of those options. They're all fun for me, but
Mm-hmm.
you know,
Everything in moderation.
well, of course, always in moderation. And I'm not
Lots of-
advocating the use of drugs, by the way, but you know,
Whatever
I'm
you're
just
of
saying
moderation.
that, you know, sometimes for creative inspiration, it can be a little, you know, helpful and insightful. Don't do drugs though. Drugs are bad. The bad drugs are bad, but do the good ones.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. That's fair.
Hey, no one ever said I was on here to make sense.
Adam Rodriguez says both are fun.
Yes, they are.
That's
As long as
hilarious.
they're healthy, fun and healthy. Healthy is the name of the game with all of it, right? Like if you're trying to mask shit, it's no good. If you're
Yeah.
trying to be positive and healthy with things, that's good.
Well, and I think that goes along the lines of many things in life. I've even told this to certain tattoo clients of mine where, if you're not in the right mental state to get tattooed, you shouldn't be getting tattooed.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're not going to sit well. You're going to be upset the whole time. You're going to keep dwelling on these thoughts that you have, and it's no good's going to come from it. So I think it crosses many different borders in life to the fact that, it's like, all right, well, I've even postponed certain appointments,
Mm-hmm.
just saying, listen, I'm going through a rough patch right now. Let's push off another month or two if you can. Let me just get my mind right to get this tattoo, and everything will be just fine. And I
Mm-hmm.
think that's something that a lot of people, even a lot of tattoo clients, don't necessarily take into consideration
I do think some
is
force it because they feel like they're going to waste our time, and when they should have taken the time to just take care of themselves or their bodies to be prepared for that. And I'd rather have someone call me and say, "Look, I just know I'm not ready to do this right now," and reschedule than someone coming in and making it a miserable experience for both of us.
right. And I can understand maybe if like an artist is booked out for 3 years in advance and, you just
Say
so happen to go
just
through.
do that shit when you could reschedule and what is it 4 or 5 days in advance so that there's appropriate notice and it's I mean again ultimately you don't want to force any tattoo that's going to be bad. The goal really is to help everyone already be in a positive frame of mind about the tattoo so that everyone can fulfill the expectations. As Jason was saying, if you're talking about artists that are booked out or have tremendous demand, again, the goal is to make sure that everyone's in the proper headspace, well ahead of time, and people like Guy, or Nick or Jeff, they'll do that, and to reduce the amount of people that aren't feeling it. I think that's one of the beautiful things about tattoos is you're really truly creating an experience that that person is going to remember for the rest of their life. So if it's a positive, it should I mean it doesn't have to be, obviously you can get fucking shitty tattoos in a horrible environment and you're going to remember that for the rest of your life. um, but at the sake of getting a little too energy or whatever, there's very few things, if nothing else, that you could affect somebody that they are going to remember for the rest of their life. And if you do that in a positive manner and you're helping them get through shit or get to shit, um, or again, even if they're just making themselves feel a little bit prettier, with a little bit more self-confidence, then as long as it's positive, and an insightful experience, um, the amount of positive that the tattoos can affect on nature is tremendous.
Oh, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
That's actually
And I,
something I put into my apprentice a lot is you're not just selling a tattoo, you're selling an entire experience. You want people to choose you. They have so many options, an overwhelming number of options. And if they get to pick you over and over again because you gave that person something that no one else has, even if your tattoos are apprentice level, they will keep coming back. And then it's absolutely shown. My apprentice is booked a month out right now and he's been tattooing 7 months.
Yeah, awesome.
Like his work is absolutely stellar and it's clean and it's beautiful, but it is not, way up here guys, but these people keep coming back to see him because he's pleasant and prepared and organized and patient. Those are something that I really instilled into him because obviously no one's the world's best artist, but I have the clientele that I have because I put it as a priority. That's my first priority, is to make sure they have an amazing experience and it's consistent for every person. I don't ever want
Yeah.
somebody to, look, I got done by Casey Hart and I loved it. It was awesome. And then I would hate for somebody to be like, yeah, I got my tattoo by her and it's nice, but it just wasn't that great of an experience. I want everybody to just be like, yes, that is the person. That's who you need to be going to see
you
because
do
they will
realize
take
that
care of.
I have to get tattooed by you just so I can say that now.
Yeah. Okay. Sounds good.
Better
Yeah,
be perfect though.
right. Well, I was gonna say you're gonna be held to a whole new standard.
I'll give you a good experience. I don't know about a good tattoo. Go from there. Make it fun, but it's important.
Oh yeah, but when you and I get together, it's always fun,
Oh yeah, absolutely. Oh my god, I miss conventions. I miss conventions so hard right now.
right? Yeah, conventions and like the social aspect of a tattoo convention and working with other artists, and just being in that social atmosphere
Mm.
with people that are absolutely incredible at everything that they do. It's that to me has been the hardest part of this past year. Once again, coming from a personal perspective. Oh, hey, David. David just asked a question about where are we located.
Oh.
I myself am located just north of Philadelphia. Casey?
So I live a little bit northern part of Baltimore, and then I work in Pasadena, Maryland, which is about 30 minutes from DC, I would say. So
Cool,
we're
cool.
in the Maryland range.
Yeah, it's not too far. It's like 3 hours from Philadelphia.
Yeah, I gotta come up there because
Yeah,
I
you
kind of
do.
forgot you were in Philly, even though your name is Philly on the
So,
Instagram.
Philly Casey.
Jason Louis just, or sorry, Travis Louis just posted up in the Facebook. He says, "No pressure." I don't know if he was talking about him or you because he's watching.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, well, Casey's got all the pressure on her now.
Yeah, I
The
guess so.
question is, like,
Open
what
mouth.
what spots do I have left open?
Yeah, your body.
That's gonna be, you're gonna get a weird spot.
Yeah, like back of your inner thigh or something weird.
No, no, those are pretty much already done.
Oh God.
Maybe like the back of the knee,
Ooh,
like the knee ditch.
yeah, fun.
I could see that. Maybe I'll have you tattoo like that little like indent right below the kneecap. I've got a
Okay,
little spot there. You
love it.
know, my feet aren't done yet. I
Oh,
wouldn't
bless.
subject you to that because I'm not a big fan of feet. So,
I have one foot done, and it's gonna stay that way most likely.
and that's part of the reason why. Maybe I'll just have you tattoo my armpit.
Okay, I'll do your armpit. I would love to do that. That I can
Yeah,
handle.
I've got both pits that are currently open. I've got an awkward spot on my stomach area that's still open, but that one's already kind of like promised out to someone. So I already started setting something up with Chris Dunn up in Canada at Deadly.
Ooh.
I'm just waiting for the border to open back up so that I can actually get up
Oh,
there and get tattooed.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, it sucks. Yes,
I
this is coffee, by the way, for anyone that is wondering. Well, I mean, it is afternoon, so it very well could be a margarita,
could be a margarita.
Well, I've got
but it
myself
isn't.
a Marzen lager here. You know, the thing
Very
is, when
cool.
we're beaming out to the reinventing community, it's always 11:30 somewhere.
Yeah, I
True
like.
story.
I
And
like
you're
this.
from Philly, so like officially Philly's got no holds barred on the timing.
Yeah, our bars open up at 9 a.m. It's
What?
great. Oh yeah.
That's
And that's
hilarious.
that's if they don't do like the traditional what I call the Irish lock-in,
Yeah,
which I was actually in when I went and worked a show up in Ireland. Highly recommend it, by the way.
Hmm.
It is a blast when you go to work there. An absolute blast. They take care of you like there is no tomorrow.
yeah,
Oh,
I
Um,
agree. I have had a great time in Ireland also, a couple times.
yeah, yeah. So I went and I worked at the Dublin show, which
Huh?
I mean, coming from working at the Philadelphia show, I didn't really have a whole lot of any expectations just because after you've worked at the Philadelphia show, everything else by comparison is like tiny, like
oh, absolutely.
minuscule tiny.
It's huge.
It's ridiculously huge. I mean, what did they have last year? What, two? I think it was 1,000 booths, 2,000 artists and vendors, or something like that.
Hmm.
They got something like 30,000 people through the door over the weekend.
That's
It's
so crazy.
absolutely ridiculously huge. And so I didn't really have, I didn't go into it with any kind of an expectation, but at the same time, like it is a little bit smaller in my opinion. I think there were maybe 200 artists. There were two vendors there, but the connections and the networking that I made while I was there, priceless,
Right.
absolutely priceless. I was meeting guys from Kuala Lumpur out in Malaysia. I was meeting artists from the Netherlands, guys that were currently doing guest spots with, some of the bigger names in Europe. And it was just absolutely unbelievably phenomenal. but one of the after parties was held at a small Irish pub, kind of on the outskirts of Dublin, in, like, more of an industrial residential area. And it was the last night we were there, and it was a Sunday night, probably 12, 1 o'clock in the morning. And we're all having some drinks, and they're like, all right, listen, here's the deal. We're gonna do it this way. And the owner walked over, locked the front door, shut all the curtains, put all the bars up. He said, as long as you guys can keep it down, have fun. He said, but
Oh,
the second you get too loud, everyone's going home.
all right.
And we were there until probably 4 in the morning.
Wow.
Yeah, I think it was around 4. At that point in time, the neighbors called the cops, and it was no good anyway. So, but that's what happens when you do an Irish lock-in in a residential area. It's gonna happen when you get a whole bunch of
Mm.
tattooers that have had a few cocktails in them, that are, just starting to get loud and having fun and recapping everything. Oh man, you got tattooed by so and so,
Uh-huh.
dude. Let me see it. Let me see it. You just get so amped and so pumped just to see stuff like that, that it's amazing, especially if it's from, like, one of your favorite artists. You just want to sit down and, like, inspect it and just be like, oh, okay, what did he use there?
Yeah, no, I pick their brain via tattoo. I look at their line
Right?
weights and at their saturation, and I'm looking at their color choices, and I'm like, yeah, yeah, I understand. I understand. I could totally do that. And then no, I cannot.
It's like, oh yeah, I love what they did here with, like, this and how they mixed that there. And it's like, yeah, yeah,
That's good stuff. That's good stuff.
yeah, that's a good idea. Why didn't I think of that?
Yeah,
You
no,
know?
I think that all the time.
Yeah. I got a video here of I guess 2016. We did co-produced Emerald Isle tattoo session, and it was pretty fun. I remember this one was with Jeff and Nick and Odd Boy, and I guess we'll see if optimized for video clip. How about that?
Ooh.
Um, and it was awesome because the fellow Martin who co-produces it, he does um, a lot of like team building exercises. It seems like YouTube is not digging the Zoom. It's real sad. You know, I guess
Ooh.
isn't that yeah. I guess here's the last lineup, but it was pretty fun because like as I was saying, Martin is a team building kind of a guy, right? For he does it for probably like Facebook and Google, all the evil corporations, and we had him for the second day. The first day we did the seminars, and then the second day we did a discussion panel, and then we all went out to do like the scavenger hunty kind of thing. So we separated out into different teams, and it's and up until that point we're like, oh my god, a tattooer is too cool for school. Are you going to do like team building exercises and shit? And and Nick and Jeff and everyone was like, oh man, we like no, like we're all like relative, like we like to. I mean, it's a mix, right? Certainly, extroverted scavenger hunts through Dublin is not something that would be on anybody's top 10 list of things to volunteer for. But here we are, and we're like trying to get as many, part of like one of the tasks was get as many people lined up to do the wave as possible, right? And there's always like, two or three people there that are in the group of 6 or 8 that'll be like, okay, well, let's get it started. And then two or three other people in the group are like, well, I'm not, okay, let's just do this. And then all of a sudden everyone's trying. It was pretty tremendous. And then everyone gets back together at the end of the day, at the pub, shares their, successes, their funny stories, uh, and all of a sudden there's a bunch of tattooers that are, doing that bonding kind of thing, even though we're semi-intentional and going, like I said, it's nothing any of us would sign up for, but it really does work. It's crazy.
Yeah, team building is great, regardless of the industry, regardless of how old you are. It's just a great time, and it's a shared experience. That's ultimately what they're trying to
Yeah.
convey is, hey, you know what? You're in this together. And as long as you get that kind of an aspect and that kind of an open-minded group together, it can be an absolutely phenomenal time.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's
when
like I said, it's funny because like the anti-authority kind of counterculture tendency, you know, I guess it doesn't. It's not even antithetical to it, right? Lots of counterculture people get together in large groups of people. I just personally can't believe that it works as well as it does. I mean, I can believe it. That's why I'm talking about it. But um, yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, I mean, I did a different kind of scavenger hunt back to the topic that we were on before, when I was in Ireland, and that was kind of interesting, you know, without getting into, specific details about, illicit activities. It was okay. Who can find this?
Hmm.
Go. And it was okay. We got to find some locals, and we got to see if we can find something. You know, so it was interesting. It definitely had its high points and its low points, if you were to say that. But it was a great time. I wouldn't trade the convention that I worked in Dublin for anything.
Oh,
It was absolutely great. I'd love to start traveling more and doing more shows internationally. Um, it's getting to the point right now that it's like, do I really want to take that kind of a chance to go and work internationally? Just do I want to wait until the curve flattens a little bit? Do I want to wait until
mhm.
I get vaccinated? Lord knows when that might be.
Right.
Um, it's like, okay, well, how long do I want to wait until that can happen? And then where do I want to go to work?
Hmm.
If I had the option, where would I go? And that's kind of the way that I always put it to myself, just because I know that if if I set a goal and I say, okay, cool, I want to find a show in Melbourne or Sydney, right, where I want to go to work at a show, I'm gonna bust my butt to get everything in line, to get everything taken care of, to get the travel visa, to get, the work visa if I have to get it, which I've never really understood why some countries will have you get a work visa when it's like, no, I'm just gonna have everyone pay me in cash. Like, this is all cash under the table. I'm only here for 3 days. You're really gonna make me pay taxes on that? Really?
Right.
Like,
Yes, the answer is yes. You would be
and
because
it
if you
benefits
were
you
to
if you do.
generate income, then of course you would get a work visa because when you're generating income in a country, it's just something you have to unless they have a visa waiver or a work visa waiver. Yes, sir. I would have, but no, sir. I'm clearly not planning on working for any sort of money because if I did and had any plans to do so, then I would have gotten a visa. Oh, you read about it on the internet that I was going to be at the convention and I'm a featured booth? Well, that's true, sir, but there's no money exchanging hands. And it's real easy when they're grilling you to, really believe that. And that really should be the truth. Because, but then again, maybe if you, get past the gates, I wouldn't reconsider, but other people might reconsider.
Yeah, that's one thing I learned the hard way. I actually had the European Union income tax coming after me for a little while,
Yeah.
telling me like, "Hey, listen, you owe us this much money," and it's like, "Wait, what? What do you mean?" And reading through everything and all that stuff, it's like I filed for my EU tax ID, right? And what I didn't realize was that by doing that and going through with all the paperwork and all that stuff, it they will automatically make an assumption that says, by the way, if you don't tell us how much you've made, we're going to assume that you made this much money,
Mm.
and this is how much you're going to owe us.
Wow.
And I mean, you know, there is a way around that. And fortunately, I ended up getting out of that situation and not having to give them anything. Which, I mean, as far as that's concerned, it's sad, but I don't know if I'll be able to go back there and work at the Dublin show again. As much as I did enjoy it, I don't know if that would ever happen. I At the end of the day, there wasn't the best turnout at that show, but like I said, the networking alone was absolutely unbelievably priceless. So if I were to go back to the Dublin show, I would go there and just attend it.
Hmm.
I wouldn't even work at it, just because, to me, that's usually why I end up going to shows anyway, is just for the networking portion of it. To go and meet different guys from different places and exchange
Hmm.
ideas and talk shop and say, oh, well, how do you do it in Australia? How do you do it in Tokyo? How do you do it in Malaysia?
That's so cool.
What are you doing differently than I'm doing, you know, to achieve a very specific type of outcome? That's kind of what I look for whenever I go to work at a show is what kind of knowledge can I gain from this so that I can take that back with me to the studio that I'm at, and apply that at that location. And there are different things you pick up from different people all over the world, and
Hmm.
everyone's got their own unique way to tattoo, which is great, and it's getting that different perspective on things that to me is worth absolutely pure gold. Um, it's incredible just to see how much things do vary from country to country.
Hmm. Or even state to state in the U.S. Like Maryland doesn't require a type of licensing or anything, so anybody can legally get up and tattoo, which I think is insane. But then whenever I've guest spotted or done conventions in many other states, I've had to be actually licensed, and that has varying degrees of in and of itself. Sometimes they just come by and slap a piece of paper on there, and sometimes they come by and actually inspect your stuff, and they get
Mhm.
really particular about ointments and packaging and that kind of thing, which I'm all down for. What we do is a pretty tedious job of, and safety, that we need to be careful and things should be monitored. So it's one thing I don't like about Maryland is their lack of care for
Oh,
what's going
well,
on.
trust me, Pennsylvania is the same way. There's no
Mm,
statewide regulation. There's no, I mean, there is as far as like certain cities go. There's city protocols and city health boards. But as far as a state regulation goes, no, all you need is a business license.
yep.
I'm not advocating going to Amazon. Um, I'm not advocating going to Amazon, getting one of those starter kits, and then opening up your own studio by any means, because that is the absolute wrong way to go about doing
Yeah,
things.
you should just go straight to opening your own studio.
You
Yeah,
should
why
just
not?
skip
Apparently
Hey,
that's what everyone's doing today.
so
So,
sorry, real quick, Casey,
yeah,
could you maybe point your camera down at your art so people can see what you're working on? And then we
absolutely.
do also have Brad Wooten who just beamed in.
hey,
So I'm
Brad.
going to feature Brad and see if we can get his sound working and check it out.
So if I can get my iPad to
Hey
turn.
everyone, can you hear me
Hey,
okay?
hey. Yes,
Oh
we can.
Good, good. Any kind of crackling or anything
no,
No,
nothing to
crystal
like that?
clear.
Good,
Okay,
good. All
let's
right.
see if
Well,
I can get this
test
to
is
come.
done, I guess, huh?
Okay, here we go. So
Oh,
I was working on this little pretty lady face thing with
oh,
some
Nice.
cool
sweet.
geometry and flower things, and I'm just kind of working with this really tight stipple brush that I've been making myself. So I'm trying to
Nice.
do it with stippling instead of a pencil, which is very
Cool.
challenging. Very, very challenging because it's a lot more tedious. I can't get it as smooth as I wanted the first time around, but that's my biggest goal in tattooing right now too, is getting stippling as smooth as possible. I like the look of the peppering and everything, but I want it to look almost like realism with lines from far away type deal.
That's usually what a mag does really well, but they're a
Uh-huh.
lot harder to control
Yeah,
on a little
exactly.
tiny teeny needle. Yeah,
So I'm doing everything with like a tight 3 or a 3, like really, really small little babies.
yeah.
What if I told you every tattoo is technically a stipple tattoo?
That makes sense. Technically, yes. Bing, bing, bing. Just very sped up.
Pretty much, yeah.
Very, very sped up. What was it, like 2,000 times a minute? 3,000, whatever it is. It was some number like that.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure
Well,
Einstein
both of them run
calculated
about
that before.
most of them run about 100 cycles a second. So 100 times 60. There you go.
That makes sense.
Does math.
Does not. It's not true.
So what are you working on, Brad?
I'm actually doing some kind of. You can see here. I'm trying to make some new brushes here. I have these calligraphy brushes right over here, and you can probably see a little bit what's going on. Let me increase that size. There we go.
Ooh,
So you see, I'm trying to make it so that like very few lines appear at first, and then as you increase pressure, they reappear.
that's nice.
So you
That's
can kind of
awesome.
not necessarily change line width, but change the number of lines as you go. Man, I need to do some more adjustments to it, but you can kind of see the results I'm getting right
Mhm.
here.
Mhm.
Yeah, I just need to make some splattery effects, but I think the only way I'm really going to be able to get that is to physically do it and take scans of that, though. Could go out and
That's
buy some
awesome.
too,
That's
but that's no
awesome.
fun. Um, yeah, this is a big long project that involves a lot of that sort of stuff here. Where's the side view of him? There it is. There's some more of those. Yeah,
Nice.
That's
kind of
awesome.
bouncing around between all sorts of different projects here. I've started to having to like censor like a lot of my iPad because I have like all these like naked people out on my
Well,
on
this
them.
is all going out off of Reinventing, which is focused on tattoos. Show all the naked people you want to, as long as it's
Yeah.
not like freaky shit. And if
Yeah,
it
Yeah,
gets
yeah,
banned
yeah,
off of Facebook, we don't care.
yeah. Well, there's that, but there's also just their own privacy, though,
For
too, as
people's
well.
privacy, absolutely. Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, yeah. I'm trying to like look at these and remember what's what. Here. Let me do this here. All right, now I can look around here. Nope, that would have been a mistake.
like, oh, yep, definitely shouldn't show them that one.
Yeah, here we go. Here's one that I need to be working on. Nope, not that one. There we go.
Cool.
So,
Now, with those brushes that you're designing, are they set up so that they rotate with the pencil, or are they set up to be in a static direction
they're usually in a static direction, but if you want to actually rotate the patterns as you start to work, you can just come into them. Here, I'll show you right here.
into the
But
brush settings?
yeah, it's actually called this one right here, Orient to Screen. That's the one you want to
Okay,
mess with. The only thing about doing that is like you can't like remove your canvas. If you want to if you want your next strokes to align into what you're doing, I'll show you this right here. So if I do this right here, but if you want to keep on adding to it and you want them to align, you can't exactly wiggle it around and try and come back because you see it's going to be a little bit off,
gotcha.
which can do some interesting things. But yeah, let me turn that back on. I've been curious what these drawing sessions look like because Gabe, you asked me to host one of them
Yeah.
or something like that. Yeah, is this about kind of what they
This
are? But
this is exactly what they are.
yeah, that
With the exception of like if uh, we could do featured interviews, specific exercises or tool sets, or but yeah, we could either get as informal or as informal or ex formal, out formal. I don't know, whatever. We can
Opposite of
as we
it.
want to.
yeah, sounds good.
I
And
generally speaking try to keep mine pretty informal and just, this is basically just me hanging out and what I would be doing on every given Sunday.
yeah,
The only difference is people can watch me do it. I keep it
yeah,
very
yeah,
relaxed. People have questions they can ask, but generally speaking, yeah, it's just a place to come, hang out, work on stuff, ask questions if you have questions.
yeah,
Maybe divulge some advice if you have any advice on doing certain things. Talk shop, meet different
yeah.
people.
Speaking
Sounds
of, Adam Rodriguez in the chat room is asking, where is Brad located? So maybe, Brad, if you want to let us know where you're located, how people can contact you, and then,
Yeah.
yeah, probably a good time for Casey and Jason to do the same.
Sure.
Yeah. Well, I'm in Portland, Maine, and probably the best way to get in touch with me is just through my website. It's just my name, bradwooten.com. There's a nice little form in the end with a little questionnaire on there, which I find really helpful. I have like these little more specific questions on a form for people to fill out. And, oh, man, I love that. People seem to dig it.
Um, so my
Uh,
name's Jason, located right outside of Philadelphia, about 30, 45 minutes north of downtown Philly. It's work at a nice little studio. We focus a lot on large scale work. We're, pretty consistent, pretty steady, nice bookings and the whole process. So yeah, Casey.
Um, I'm pretty much outside of Baltimore. If I say Cockeysville, no one knows where that is. So we're about 30 minutes from Baltimore, maybe 30 minutes from DC, like right in between. I work in a studio with like 10 artists. It's a lot of us. So it's very energetic. It's a very chaotic place. But I definitely have my own little Zen corner, I would say. Um, I have a website, pretty thorough website, caseyharttattoos.com. And then my Instagram is ARTXHART tattoos. Very old school AOL messenger sounding username for Instagram.
I was gonna say, was that your AIM name back in
No,
the day?
no, it kind of came up as a joke, and then I've kept it ever since. But I think I'm gonna change it eventually back to Baby Hands because I go by that a lot more often than Casey.
You have pretty tiny hands.
They're only 4.5 inches, very small hands. Extra small gloves are still too big, so that's a grand time. I mainly focus on mandala work, floral work, ornamental stuff, lots of lines. I love all line weights. I'll go anywhere from an extra tight 3 all the way to a 14 on a given tattoo, and then do a lot of the stipple shading, but I'm trying to get it as soft as possible. That's the main goal. Alex Sorsa and Squire Strand are probably my two biggest influences, I would say, on their level of artistry and what they can pull off on skin with line work and stippling is just absolutely beautiful. So that's the eventual goal, is to be on that level. We'll see. Give me another 10 years.
Does take time, that is for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Well, I'm actually going to just, while we're at this contact info stage of the stream, I'm going to share the screen and show off the Reinventing the Tattoo app a little bit. There are people still watching, and if when we're done with this, we want to keep the stream going for another 15-20 minutes, I'm definitely down. But yeah, so we are streaming out through the Reinventing the Tattoo app. Or community. You can go to community.reinventingthetattoo.com or to the Apple or Android store, the Google Play Store, whatever the hell it's called, and then do a search for Reinventing the Tattoo, download the app, and there's a whole free community that is supported by our sponsors. And yeah, I think we're looking at the. Are we looking at the home screen right now? Oh yeah, okay, so we're looking at the home screen right now. And you will see all of the events. And obviously this is the 1 o'clock Sunday afternoon Reinventing Drawing Group. We also do them first thing, 9 o'clock in the morning on Monday with Jake Meeks from the Fireside Tattoo Network. And it is early, 9 o'clock in the morning. I'm usually up at like 4 or 5 in the morning anyways, but like getting ready to click the buttons go and shit by 9 a.m. is definitely... it's great. It's makes sure that by 10:30 in the morning on Monday, we're already going. And anyways, so yeah, so there's 9 o'clock in the morning. We've got the 9 o'clock at night, or early to rise, late to bed. The 9 o'clock exclusive exercises with Gaia for subscribers. There's how to build tattoo machine workshops, Spanish art jams, Italian tattoo convention, history interviews, live in the Castro, straight from the heart of San Francisco, tattoo collecting. Okay, so there's all sorts of events, and that is one of the cornerstones of the Reinventing app. There is also places for people to post up and share with each other through these feeds. And then there's a whole subscribers area. So if you're a tattooer, it's well worth the bucks, and you can come in here. It's got the full RIT Canon. I think, yeah, it looks like this is all working here. And I'm not going to resume the course. This isn't necessarily a sales pitch. I'm just kind of showing off kind of what's going on with the app. But professional tattooers and apprentices can subscribe to the Reinventing Professional Edition, I guess, or whatever. And then not only do you get the Canon and all the courses and all the videos, but there's also exclusive exercises and events. Okay, other parts of the app here, we've got the groups. And this is where you can join all of the different types of topics that might be of interest to you. So when you go to your My Feed, you can see kind of just the groups that you're interested in. And there's some pretty cool ones. There's a marketplace so people can buy and sell shit, and we stay out of it. There's a library here. Okay, I'm going to talk about the library, video library. These are all the shows. So you can see this is the Reinventing Drawing Group. The replay for this show will end up here. There's the Reinventing the Tattoo podcast, where Guy is doing in-house interviews and discussion panels. And all the other shows, you can find all of the replays here. And I'm going to stop the tour there because it's been a couple minutes, but there's a lot to explore. So I would just encourage people to go to community.reinventingthetattoo.com or to the mobile app store. And we're back to drawing and shit.
To drawing and
Yeah,
shit.
I have to say, man. So I was a bit skeptical when I first joined. I was like, okay, well, I already have a copy of the book. Do I really want to join this? It has been absolutely incredible. Highly recommend it if you find yourself in that position where, you know, you're feeling a little bit stagnant with your work, or you're trying to find something that's really going to help push you to be a better artist. Highly recommend it. I don't get paid, by the way, to say any of that. It's just what I have personally found to be true. So I'm not really getting anything out of it. I'm just an advocate because it works and it's helped me out a lot.
Yeah, it's my
Kind
first time
words.
here. It actually feels pretty good just to kind of put some time aside and just to draw for fun, be kind of loose and gestural, and doesn't have to be anything fancy for a while, you know.
Right. Well, and that's the whole concept is, you know, jump on in, start working on some projects, get those creative juices going again. If, you know, maybe you're finding yourself at a stale, stagnant point where, you know, it's like, all right, well, I've been really uninspired lately. Let's see what I can do to really kind of push myself. Maybe I can learn a few things along the way. Maybe I can meet a couple of cool people while I'm doing it. You know, that's part of the reason why I joined up, and it's great. I wouldn't be here right now if I didn't.
You know, the one of the fun things I'm finding, or refinding, I guess, is the you know, one of the main reasons why people are obviously joining this, and you know, one of the driving forces behind Guy creating it like this, is so that people can meet each other and network with each other, you know, of like minds. And yeah, when everyone's able to start traveling again, it's going to be there's, you know, a lot of people that will have met and, you know, drawn together, met each other, and had conversations, and
Love that.
that'll be able to get together. And just to put it out there, in theory, the Brussels Tattoo Convention's happening next November. You know, at this point, it feels like between the vaccines and I mean, I guess there's enough people still dying and shit's still raging, but vaccines are on the way. The point being, November is the next time I'm planning on it in Europe, and that'll be in November. I think it's the 12th to the 14th, and we'll have seminars. We'll, you know, and again, if people don't feel safe, we'll be beaming in, you know, an art night, you know, for everyone. We'll do some Reinventing subscriber exclusive parties, and or a brunch, like a drawing brunch.
Ooh.
And but we're pretty excited that how patient we can be to do events the right way when they really, you know, when we feel safe and everything's safe again. But I'm hoping that vaccine by summer, you know, I'm hoping the good news on the vaccines are, you know, relatively commonplace.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting this coming year. I just got hit up on Instagram earlier this morning from a guy from Arizona who is doing a show in Scottsdale in the beginning of February. And, you know, at this point in time, I'm still a little cautious and a little bit, you know, hesitant to travel just yet. And, you know, that's kind of what I said to them to that effect. You know, I'd love to be a part of it. You know, I just don't think now is the right time for me personally.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I know a lot of people
February,
out there that
4,000
are
people
like,
died yesterday.
I
What?
know.
Four
That's
thousand people died yesterday. I mean, in the whole country, I guess, but That's a lot of people.
Yeah. Yeah. So you know what? For right now, that's going to be a pass for me.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, good luck to everybody. I wish everyone success, and you can probably do something that's relatively safe. I have no idea how they're running it, but February seems very soon to do something. I'm almost thinking we need to figure out Jiminy Peak, and I'm wondering if October we might be able to do something. But again, it's like, you know, I guess mostly what I was thinking is maybe we'll do like a picnic, Paradise Tattoo picnic. Everyone can just like show up
Ooh.
if they want to, and bring your own sandwiches, and we'll hang out on the mountain outside together. Uh,
I mean, I'm in.
That doesn't sound bad at all.
Should I bring my own little portable easel and plein air stuff?
it feels. I mean, October's a little cold, but again, part of it is, also, financially, just like it's hard to do anything that's any sort of liability. And I do have a canceled convention that I need to make sure that I adjust for as we do a real convention um, at Jiminy Peak again. But that's, I mean, ultimately it just means I give people tickets that, couldn't get them for the last show because we had to cancel it. But yeah, again, mostly it's like how, what kind of liability can we take in October as far as a convention is concerned. Um, but like I said, if we just say, hey, everyone goes outside, it's kind of cold, but whatever. It's New England in October. Dress up appropriately, and we all paint outside, socially distanced, vaccinated with masks and shit. Like I get, you know, I
I'll
don't
be there
know.
wearing my own Tyvek suit.
I'll beam in. Guy will beam in. We'll all beam in. Anybody that wants to be there can be there in reality. Yeah. I don't know. We'll see. But I have to switch the dates up. We have dates set for like 2 or 3 months from now, and that's definitely not happening. So I think for the real convention, the Rock River one that's outside of Chicago, the one that Guy and Rob are helping put on or co-hosting, um, we're looking at July for 2022, and so yeah, it'll be awesome to actually catch up in person again with real life conventions. But on the other hand, you know, science doesn't give a shit how long our patience can last.
Ain't that the truth? Yeah, science is definitely opinion based or non-opinion based. Sorry. Yeah, it's all numbers. It's all numbers. I've never been a science guy. I've never been a math guy. So numbers are confusing to me.
Hmm.
There's too many of them, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I
And then you
love
get
that.
into irrational numbers and stuff like that, and that's just another level of confusing.
Mathematic wise, I can get up to like pre-calc. I'm definitely like, as a computer programmer, I'm very algorithmic ish, thinking. I definitely know how to, make structure. I'm a programmer, computer programmer kind of a guy. So, making invisible structures that run through environments is kind of up my alley, which is a lot of variables. I create I create systems of variables. I love variables. Yeah.
Yeah, that always feels more like a language than, or learning a new language than doing math, though. Depending on
Exactly.
what
Yeah.
you're
Yeah.
doing, though.
Yes. 100%, like pattern recognition and prediction and manipulation is 100% a language of,
Yeah.
and the brain really I believe the brain processes it that way. And so like dance is just as much of a language as Spanish is or English is,
Mm-hmm.
or
I don't know
music
what I'm drawing
or
right now.
it's fun to see you draw on caricatures and shit.
I've been starting to warm up doing just dumb cartoons.
Uh-huh.
I've I've been really wanting to do some kind of an animated short or something, and it's
Mm.
I've kind of lost touch with this side of myself, doing all these serious tattoos and things for the past 13 years. Things.
Absolutely. Okay, sweet. I got some. Let's see here. Vern Frederick says, "Hi everyone. I hope you're all doing well. I need more ink. I can never have enough." So, is everyone taking clients? Is that something that
I certainly, yeah.
yeah,
Mhm.
cool. Well,
Yeah.
everyone here is worth traveling to get tattooed by. That's for sure.
Yeah, we've been. I think we've been open since June, pretty steadily, and I actually expected a really bad slow season, but we found it's kind of been the opposite. That people feel probably that they have this extra income from stimulus or from, other Christmas presents and things like that, and then people have time to get tattooed. They're at home or working from home, and we've had a very very busy season. I've been consecutively booked for like probably about 3 years now, I would say. But there's a lot of my walk-in artists and my apprentice who's just been super super busy, and I'm actually pretty grateful for it because I'm sitting here thinking there's other people out there without any jobs at all right now and don't get to work, and here we are as artists. I'm thriving, and I'm really really grateful for that because not everybody has that opportunity right now.
Yeah, it's real tough to listen. I mean, and there's less tattooers complaining, but these days, like at 100%, and it's that's a force that's happened a couple times. In the 25-ish years I've been hustling tattoos. There's been a couple times where things get real lean. And the thing is, it's like tattooers at the base of it. You could tattoo people and give them a good experience, and they're going to come back with their friends, and it's real simple, one to one. 1 to 1. And as to your point, if you can't go on vacation, can't afford the $3,000, $5,000 vacation, still might be able to afford the $750 tattoo.
Mm-hmm.
And as a tattooer, even if your clientele, if you're booked out a couple months, or a month even, if you're booked out 4 weeks and half your clientele has to, is suffering and can't, keep their appointment, you still have 2 weeks of, solid tattoos to do. And again, if you're showing them a great time and doing a good tattoo and they're coming back with their friends and family, as I joke with Jason a bit, you sacrifice enough to the tattoo gods, and they'll treat you harshly, but they'll treat you well too.
Mm-hmm. They will provide.
I just sacrificed my favorite goat earlier this week.
Well, you have to be careful. There's some vegan tattoo gods.
True, true, very true.
Husband's watching football really loud, so I'm sure it's
Mm-hmm.
distracting.
It was funny. One of these we were doing beaming in with Fawn from Red Tree, and every once in a while when we do these and there's a lot of people hopping on, you can hear all sorts of weird stuff in the background. And but we were like, what the fuck is kind of going on there? Are you guys like filming a rap video at Red Tree or something, or what's going on? And she was like, actually, we're filming a rap video at Red Tree. And it was pretty funny. A couple weeks later, the video came out on their
Oh.
somebody's YouTuber video, and it's like full on rap video happened at Red Tree.
Which is pretty awesome, by the way. Like that it was a little difficult to hear, but I mean, when you finally saw that finished product, you were like, "Oh wow,
It was completely
wow!"
chaotic to go through.
Right?
But like in drunk critique, sometimes we go through like hours of fucking chaos. But so it was kind of nice though because it died down after like 10 minutes or so. Uh, but yeah, watching the after product was good. It was pretty good tunes too, wasn't? You never know sometimes. But by the time you're filming a Red Tree, you got some stuff. They've filmed like video. John Travolta, I think he did a little bit of filming for one of the shows there, one of the movies.
That's awesome.
Wow,
I wonder
holy
which
shit! I think
one.
Derb's in a full on movie. I saw it's like a movie post. I don't know. I have no idea. People should
No,
go check it
no,
out.
yes, he is in a movie, and that's The Life and Times of Vanilla Ice.
Ha! Yes.
Yeah, wasn't he on VH1's Behind the Music?
Oh, I have no idea. I mean, I'm sure. I know he's been on that kind of TV a couple times with between Hell City and uh, yeah. I mean, at this point, if you wanted to be on TV, you're on TV.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm pretty psyched as we get this shit together. We'll get this stuff on cable access TV.
Oh yeah.
There's no question about it. I mean, we have to kind of edit it into 45-minute hour long format, but
This?
or pieces, parts of this. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
uh, we'll probably do a daily podcast, Monday to Friday, because with so many shows going on, we can get the audio out. But the cable access TV plays a lot of stuff. We've gotten our shows on cable access before, and when the conversations here are going and the art's pretty cool. I mean, some of the shit that goes on cable access TV. you know, this is they love this stuff. The producers and the people that are making the cable access shows. So yeah, it shouldn't be. We should be able to work it into our workflows pretty easily. Um, I guess I say that not having done it for the last year and a half, but we're getting pretty damn close.
Now wait, wasn't Tattoo Wars didn't that start out as cable access and then it got moved
Nah,
to
Tattoo Wars was full on production, and
was it?
they fucking sandbagged it. It was
Yeah,
real. It was real sad to
that was my favorite show in the world. And then
Tattoo. Yeah, agreed. It was.
it
Yeah,
just they got rid of
Sandbag?
that for the reality shows.
yeah. They put it on. It was premiering just before Miami. No, L.A. Inc. I don't know, or maybe one of the second seasons. So like, basically, Tattoo Wars was it was a pretty thought out. Was it thought out? I mean, it was cheesy. It was like Tattoo Wars, all across. I'll fire it up here. It's worth watching every single one because every single person that was on it was a fucking legendary tattooer. Um, but it was kind of cheesy. It was like Tattoo Wars and with animated kind of the world and the snake and the. Okay, so I really wish YouTube will work here. Let's see here. I did a search for YouTube and Zoom, and no one seemed to have an issue with it. I don't know what's going on
Really?
here.
Hmm.
Fuck you.
I don't think there's any issue with through Zoom. They're not really break it down with that. No.
Is this? I mean, I don't know why. Experience interruptions. Find out why. Well, now I'm doing this on fucking live Facebook. Yeah. Okay.
You
Well,
you
let's.
can't play audio of other YouTube videos on YouTube, can you?
As soon as I stop this is going. So they have some sort of thing going on. But to your point, Tattoo Wars. Yeah, they did backgrounds on each of the artists, and it was like whatever. This one here was Guy Aitchison and Aaron Kane. It was like Dino Cook was doing realism with Tom. I think it was a Tom Renshaw. I don't know. It was like all sick ass tattooers from maybe 10 years ago. And
I think even Seth Safari was on it
Seth
too.
Safari was on at the Boston convention. They did the final showdown at the conventions. And I
Yeah.
remember I was there. I saw him in Phoenix, Arizona. I saw Aaron Kane and Guy fucking shaking hands. And then I think they probably did it like 2 or 3 times, although it was a long time ago now, so I don't quite remember. But I'm always up early, right? So I'm roaming around wicked early, and yeah, you can see like Guy and Aaron. They're like, "Oh man, this is fucking early. Like, are we really here doing this shit?" But that was fun, and they did the live tattooing on the stage. I was there at the Boston convention one when Seth was there, and she's awesome. I think she kicked. I think she won. The woman from I hate being on the spot like this. It's a fucking sick ass New York tattoo shop that's been around forever. Wait, Jason, you brought it up. Who's
It's like
who did say?
200 of those.
Yeah, I
I
was
know.
gonna say you're gonna have to be more specific
A
there,
little.
Gabe.
Michelle Miles. There we go. Whew.
Yes.
Okay. Daredevil tattoo. Uh,
Yeah.
but so to the question of sandbagging it, what it meant was they went through and they produced the whole show. They made it with all these great artists. It actually should be, could be respected in the tattoo world, like the proper tattoo world, as a show that, even though it's a competition show, was done as best as it could possibly be. And then all of a sudden, we were watching, Miami Inc. or, one of the whatever the other tattoo show was happening. Could have been LA Inc.
Right.
They were blasting the fuck out of that, and they were ignoring tattoo wars. And I remember a guy and Michelle and a couple people were like, "Hey, come on, let's petition the network to like give the real show that actually has, not that the other show isn't real, but the show that's backed by the tattoo industry, a little bit of action." But the network had already agreed that for whatever reason, who the fuck knows, they didn't give a shit. So they put it out like once on the TV, and then you just have to find it on the YouTube. They don't replay it or nothing on
Which
the TV.
is hard to find. I've actually been searching for a little bit, and
Oh, you know what? I'll put a link up in the app.
yeah, definitely, because those
Or,
are well worth watching.
oh yeah, for sure. I think I put them on some of the resources lists. Some of the other resource lists I put them up on. Yeah, I'm looking at one of the channels I have here right now for it.
Yeah,
It's got all
I
of them.
think I just found one on Body Mod Movies on YouTube.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the one that I'm looking. Well, that's the one I'm looking at now. They probably pull them down if they, I guess, I don't know.
Yeah, they're old, but they are definitely worth watching. Um, Highly recommended. And I forget what the lineup was, but if you do a Google search for Tattoo Wars full episodes, it'll tell you exactly which ones are which and who's in them. Mike Rubendahl, Leo Zaletta. There's a lot of
Yeah.
really good ones, and highly recommended. Even if it's just as like background white noise while you're drawing and painting and stuff like that, they're awesome. Um,
That's fine. I
yeah,
was
it's
searching for Tattoo Wars on YouTube, and this is showing up now. this stream.
really.
That's fat. That was fast.
That is
Here,
fast.
I'll show it just to boom.
What?
Tattoo
Wow.
TV. Hey, there's you. Ooh.
Yeah,
Wow, we're famous already. It was like,
technology is listening.
Well, not that famous. Not yet. We'll replay famous in a year and a half from now.
yeah.
Right.
It's fun. The Reinventing app community is definitely growing. We got it's just like 500, over 500 people now and growing. But it's fun. Like at this stage, there's enough people that are contributing and doing cool things that, and there's no assholes yet. There's no drama yet. I know. It's and we're adjusting for it and expecting it. But,
Yeah. Good.
Careful what you wish for there.
The thing is, it's like and we know this, and Guy knows this, and Guy's a fucking incredible role model about it. It's like, it's about inspiring art, and we all have opinions about all the different shit and all the different things, and, your philosophy and your moral and ethics generally drives your politics, but the whole point here is to literally just fucking make better, inspiring art that helps people become better people. And at first with that app, when people are posting, it was like, well, wait, where do you just post your own shit? Like, and then I even put in a little bug to the developer. I'm like, hey, we'd like to like just post up shit on our own board. And they were like, no, you might actually just want to reconsider that and only have people post like on topic stuff. And I was like, oh yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
good idea.
like you either have to post up a tattoo, or you have to post up a piece of original art, or you're posting up an exercise that you're working on, or you're posting up a comment about one of the live streams that you're on. Like, there's just no
Right.
spot for you to post up your fucking, again, the dog and the cat or the food. Those are kind of cool. Or I think we will put up a travel section. So it's like, I'm trying to do that. I started a tattoo convention thread, but like. And we'll have a travel thread, like post up pictures of your favorite travel place, and as we're able to travel again, again, we'll have reinventing groups and whatnot where we meet at different places. But yeah, but point being is, it's really awesome to like have a spot where it's like everybody's like focus is creating inspiring art and sharing with each other. That's it. Like any sort of drama, go fuck yourself. What we want to do is just create inspiring art and share with each other. That's it.
Yeah, but I think you hit the nail on the head there. As long as you get enough people of the right mindset and the right core values, I think the only thing that's going to happen is it's going to succeed. You know,
Well,
people are going to have differing opinions about different things, but as long as it's an open, friendly, and comfortable place to go through and debate certain things. For example, I had someone ask me this before, and apparently the person that asked me this is pretty infamous for asking this question. But they said, who is the better artist, Picasso or Dali? And it's like, well, that's all up to your individual preference. How can you go through and say that one is better than the other when they've got varying styles and they're both excellent at what they did? So is there really a better artist, or is it more what's your opinion on this?
I think you have to define art in order to actually even take one step of that. Like that's
Exactly.
and
yeah,
then
it's
like,
all.
oh, define art, and that's always just going to be a really stupid conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it is. Well, the
Yeah.
textbook definition of
So it's a
art
stupid
is something
question.
created by an artist,
Yeah.
and an artist is someone that creates art, because art is so interpretive that
I don't know
it's
about that.
really open for debate.
I don't know about that. Yeah, I don't know if the definition can be the word itself.
I mean, how do you define it then?
How do you define art? I could look it up. No, I would
I couldn't
say
answer
like for
that.
me like
That's
best
kind of
is
my
almost
point.
like best is almost a harder word, right? Like okay, so best, does that mean most influential? Does that mean the most commercially successful? Does that mean that the ratio between how known you are while you're alive compared to how famous you are after you're dead is what makes you the best? Like the person that was least known while they're alive, but the most known after they're dead? Like that might consider the best, or is it the person that's the most known while they're alive who gives a fuck after they're dead? Like they're not making any money or value out of it. So, like the best is like I said, almost has a wider variety. Like to Brad's point, like art and stuff. I mean, art is some sort of creative output, right? Okay. Now, and like when people debate whether like there's good art or bad art, like everyone can debate it, right? But like there's good art and bad art, like that's not up for debate. Unless you're
It
really
seems
on the. Yeah.
it seems to me like there are two definitions of art. One is basically anything that a person could create and proclaim that that's what it is, and the other is like some kind of absolutely unachievable, perfect ideal that's almost like a religious experience just to look at it. And a lot of times, sometimes people will even flip the switch. Sometimes, depending on what they're looking at, or just change their definition of it. But yeah, that's one thing that I see at least going on. And a lot of people also just define art by whatever they think that their wherever their tastes lie, and that's probably the most misguided way that I've seen. But
Well, one of my favorite videos that we have up is the Nick Baxter's critiquing video. I think he originally did it
mm,
with Teresa Sharp, but the recording that we have of it, it's just Nick at one of the old Paradise Artist retreats. And when he runs through it, he goes through a couple different types of art, and he gets, to the just big blobs of color kind of art, but especially for people that aren't necessarily going through art classes or whatever. And for me, it was really helpful to understand. Okay, I get it. Like, I could really appreciate some of those massive, just blobs of color pieces of art. Understanding the intention of the artist, kind of a thing. And it's real simple to just look at pieces of art to be like, anyone could do that, but no one else. Well, sometimes no one else did, right? On the other time, obviously people can shit in the middle of a room and call it art, and
I've only done
yeah,
uh,
the
that once.
urinals, it's a
some
famous
people
one.
do that. I mean, I personally, like, if someone's gonna get paid to do that, I'm like all for them, because there's so many people that get paid to do all sorts of crazy shit that, like, I'd rather the artist get paid to do weird stuff like that than anyone else. But on the other hand, as hanging around with tattooers who clearly, when you're marking somebody's body for the rest of their lives, all of a sudden that, like, ambiguity of, there's good art and bad art, you know, all of a sudden, you have to peel away, like, I feel like 60 or 70% of the bullshit that covers when you're tattooing. It's much harder to be like, that tattoo looks like shit. Well, it's art. That doesn't make a difference whether it's art or not. It looks like shit.
Right.
And it's on
Well,
somebody's body for the rest of their life. And like, you might think it looks awesome, but if 80% of the people that look at it thinks it looks like shit, they literally think you have a bet, which is not good, right? Like
well, I think the only person's opinion who it really matters is the person who got it at the end of the day. But um, and
But what if there's 1,000 people that have a different opinion and tell them every day, right? Like, so
Mm.
somebody thinks, again, I went and I got, just for the sake of argument, somebody gets a memorial, they get a memorial tattoo, or maybe, well, they're going to get a memorial tattoo and they didn't pick the right artist. So it's a very poorly done tattoo, right? So they think it's great. They don't really have any experience looking
okay, well
at lots
that's
of
that's
art,
that's that's a different story. But
you know. So,
yeah,
and this is where, for me, in some ways, it's like, the obligation of the person making the marks on someone's body is different than, the space where you can say, well, it's just art. It doesn't make a difference whether it's good art or bad art. Everyone's got a different opinion. Changes when you're dealing with somebody's body and their skin. Because and to that point, I would argue, fooling a client, not fooling a client, making a client and or their peers think that something is awesome, is definitely different than, master tattooers or master artists thinking that something is awesome. And
are we thinking about other people's tattoos or our own tattoos that we put on people?
Hmm.
I'm just thinking I don't ever put a tattoo on
Right.
anybody. Although that said, when I own shops or I have a tattoo convention, there's tattoos that are going out on my reputation. Which is
Yeah.
even trickier because, like,
Mm.
if earlier when we were talking about like being perfect in the tattoo experience, I'm like, yeah, well, if I can deal with a tattoo convention with 100 artists, or a shop that's got 100 guests a year. I mean, I lost my shops because of imperfect experiences. Uh, you know, and tattooing itself is like, you have to strive for perfection in an imperfect medium. Skin and people are not perfect. And but that doesn't give you the excuse to not strive for perfection, unless you're trying to be a freaky artist and, tattoo somebody in the back of a Jeep on a fucking safari or whatever. And, I don't know. Okay, I
Yeah,
yield the
no, I
floor.
think everyone deserves your best tattoo yet, really, and that's really hard to do. But it's you gotta. I don't know. I find that the only way that I can even have a smidgen of feeling of that's what I'm doing is um I don't know. I ask people a lot of times, like, either you can design it or I can design it. And if I'm going to design it when I'm drawing, I can't be sitting there and do this and like psychically try and figure out if this person wants this line to go a little bit left or a little bit right. Like, which all those little tiny little grain of sand decisions, like, I can't do it. I have to sit down and draw it as if it were for me. And the only way I can get to that point is if I talk to them for a long time and find some kind of understanding of, like, build a sandbox,
Yeah.
figuring out like what their aesthetic sort of taste is and what they mean by certain words. Like, one of the most slitheriest ones is like when someone says that they like detail. What the hell does that
Uh,
mean? What are you talking about? Do you like noodles absolutely everywhere? Or do you mean you can be satiated by like a Rembrandt painting that has that only crisp spot right in the
Yeah.
eye right
I
there?
want to fire up some
Because if you're
Rembrandt.
that kind of person, you're reasonable and I can tattoo you, but I got to find out if you are that person or not.
Well, and to that point, it almost feels like before you're getting a tattoo, uh, can you get like a little like a minor in art? Can you understand art a little bit, or maybe
yeah.
we have some classes that are like, yeah,
No, they definitely say detail a lot, and sometimes they just mean looking good.
Yeah. But I
Okay.
mean, look at that. Like
Right.
95% of that is just like wash, just
mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
there is detail in it, but I want to know if they mean that they like those like little doodle. You know how like a high school student might like put little squiggles and doodles all around the outside of their pages. Like,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes people mean that when they mean detail.
Mm-hmm. I like when they definitely understand some of the terms. And then sometimes it's the opposite too, where someone that's like a graphic designer and they know too many art terms and they just throw around contrast and value for no good reason whatsoever, and or extra.
Well, if it's for no good reason, then they don't understand it. But
Yeah,
okay.
exactly.
It's like people trying to
Um,
sound smart, so they use a lot of buzzwords, and they're like, "Yeah, I know what I'm talking about because I know this term and that term." And it's like, "Yeah, but you
Look at
don't
that detail.
understand
Holy
how they work
schmoly.
together."
yeah, that's not really. That's you know a
That
little bit of
depends.
optical illusions going on there.
Yeah, it depends on if you mean detail as in finesse and precise, or do you mean detail as in every bit of contrast was taken into account or every bit of value was paid attention to. So it kind of depends on your
Right.
own detail
Yeah.
too.
Yeah. I always ask people too. It's like, do you draw?
Do you draw?
All right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah, and they get a yes or no. Like that tells me a lot about like how I speak to them afterwards. Just
Holy Moses. Could I paraphrase a story that, can I spread vicious rumors about celebrities?
oh,
Um,
love it.
Let's
so
go
Mike,
for it.
Mike DeVries was tattooing Sylvester Stallone. Yeah, I think this is the truth. Um, and Sylvester Stallone was showing him like a rough cut of like Rambo 6 or Rambo 10, or I don't even know which Rambo it was. I'm sure it was a great
Oh.
Rambo. I don't mean to, I'm not disparaging Rambo.
He is a
Well, I'm talking
national
Rambo had the
about,
hero.
well, I'm
best.
talking about
He's
Sly.
a hero.
But so like at the end of the tattoo, and again, this is like I didn't get this from Mike, so I got it like 2 or 3 fold or whatever. But unless I got it from Mike, I don't remember. Point being is, you know, Sylvester Stallone was picking apart the tattoo and being like, the colors aren't quite right. This isn't like what's going on. And Mike's like, well, hey, look, I mean, this is the second session out of a third session tattoo. You know, I still have to finish it. And Sylvester's like, yeah, but I don't get it. Like, this isn't working right. This doesn't look right. And Sylvester Stallone is, as you can imagine, has a reputation for being a very nitpicky tattoo client. Very controlling tattoo client. He's got a lot of control over his life, or something. And again, this is all vicious rumors. I have
Right.
no idea
Yeah.
it's true. Point being is the story that I heard was Mike was like, "Well, wait, dude, did I just like pick apart fucking Rambo 6? What you showed me and be like, look, this was a rough cut and that was bad, and the fucking lighting was still off on this, and this sound wasn't mastered, and I could still hear your fucking all started to pick out some of the things that were wrong with the rough cut of the movie." And Sylvester was like, well, no, the movie's not done yet. And then Mike was like, look, the tattoo's not done yet. Exactly.
Ah,
Like, and I don't know. I thought it was a fun story. And like I
Yeah.
said, I don't, I swear that Sylvester Stallone also found, was it Mike on Off the Map on our old studio website. I think, I know he did because I heard the whole story a couple times. There's other stories about that, but anyways, I thought that one story had relevance for what we're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it brings up a good point because I definitely don't spend a whole lot of time doing full rendered drawings for my clients. They definitely get the most basic looking thing, basically a coloring book version. And they come in like, yeah, but is it gonna have all the shading? Is it gonna have dimension and all these things? I'm like, yeah. You just gotta trust me. And um, kind of like that, where it's only maybe a third of the process for me is the drawing. Almost everything else comes while it's on the skin. And they kind of, I actually kind of don't believe not everyone is meant to be tattooed. I think it takes a certain level of trust
What's
and yeah, just yeah,
you said everyone's not meant to be tattooed?
yeah.
Yeah,
There's
I ask, sometimes people worry about wasting my time and they'll say that verbally and it's like, look, if I somehow do my job and if that end result of that job means that like you don't get tattooed, then my job is done. Like that's the last thing I want is for you to get tattooed and been like, oh wait,
shouldn't have done that.
this was all I was just kind of convinced into doing this. So it's like, oh yeah, I'll just let him do his thing. Let the artist do their thing. I think that that's also something that's kind of should be taken with a grain of salt. Like I understand why that phrase was made, but no. But the average people are not like 90% of everything is pretty mediocre. Like so, you got to find out if that's going to be into or not. You know.
Oh,
Mhm.
hey, I apologize. I missed a question from Patrick Boothman from Wales. It is going to be amazing when we get to travel around and catch up with everybody because Wales is a beautiful country. But he was asking, "Hi everyone, I have a mathematical question for Jason. The petals on a chrysanthemum increase each time around. Is there a preferred number of petals that he uses?" And then, actually, I'm sorry, real quick, before you answer that, I guess you just answered it.
No. I usually try to just map them out as far as where are they going to look the best? Are they going to flow right with the direction that I'm trying to draw them in? For example, and it's kind of tough to tell, but that's kind of why I do like a transparent overlay with the rough map. I'm going to have certain ones coming from behind here. I'm going to have like this little guy peeking out over top. So I'm going to end up going through and erasing, maybe this part here, here, and here. So what visually is going to look right as far as the interaction of these chrysanthemum petals with the body of the snake? I always like to try to integrate as many different elements as I can, maybe having like a leaf in the background later on, or maybe another one over here. But generally speaking, I don't keep track of how many I draw as far as the number of petals. I do try to factor in, is it going to be compositionally balanced? Is it
Yeah.
going to have the right weight in one area over another area? Is that, maybe I need a little bit more upward flow in this area, or maybe I need to bring another one out over in this area, just to kind of visually balance it out. Sometimes you do want more of an unbalanced composition if you're trying to show more directional angle of those petals. But typically speaking, I don't usually keep track as far as the number of them go. I just make it look full and try to get a few of them in there so that it looks visually interesting, but not too many that it obscures the detail in whatever else is going to be incorporated.
The answer to that seems like it would be very similar to the how many legs of the octopus should you draw?
As many looks,
Yeah.
as many as looks right.
Right. Yeah.
Mm, mm, mm. At the end of it all, it's like the answer is whatever looks right.
Yeah.
Yeah. At the end of the
Come
day,
on.
you can really only like just listen to your gut. Just
Yeah, whatever looks
get
right.
really quiet and just really ask it if it feels right or not. You know.
You have to gently caress it and say, "How are you feeling?"
I tell clients to do that. It's like don't overanalyze it. Don't overanalyze it. You're just going to torture this whole thing trying to get that last 5% of perfection. We're going for 95%
Yes.
perfect. You know, if I keep replacing the stencil trying to get that last 3%, like we're never going to hit this spot again. You know, we might end up with one more, but then it's going to take us 2 hours to get there. You know, and then we're both going to have a hard time getting tattooed because we're both going to be frustrated after all that. You know, I feel like the experience of getting it is pretty important. You know,
Well,
like it's
without
got to be
question.
cool. You know, you want to have a good day. Hmm?
Without question. I completely and totally agree. The experience of actually receiving the tattoo definitely plays a very large part in,
Mm-hmm.
client satisfaction.
Yeah, the way you remember it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Casey and I were discussing that earlier in the beginning of this session where, we had mentioned that the client's mood and their mental and emotional state at that point in time also weighs very heavily into that. And
Yeah.
I know from personal experience, there have been times where I've pushed off appointments just because I knew I wasn't mentally prepared enough to receive that tattoo. So, it all comes down to, is this going to be something that, for lack of a better term, allows them to leave in a very happy place?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Tattooing that's what's kind of unique about it, honestly, is that it's a real human to human experience. There's not many art forms left like that, where you are in a collaboration and it's all this, well, it's on me. Well, you're like, well, it has my name on it. So it's kind of tough, but it is,
Yeah.
A collaboration, feelings and human emotions and whatever I'm going through mentally in my life and whatever that person's going through in their life, it usually comes out in some form or fashion. It doesn't even have to come out verbally. It just
Yeah.
comes
Yeah.
in
It's all the
choice.
more important too. Huh?
I mean, one of the ways that you can, certainly one of the ways you could treat tattooing is as a shamanic practice, right? Like, and again, there is no other experience that you're going to have a mark on your body that you're going to remember for the rest of your life until you're dead. I mean, whether it's a good, bad, or in between, there is no other art or craft or anything that compares, because there's nothing else that you can put on your, you're literally, you can be
Yeah.
18 years old and put some fucking, fuck mom upside down on your fucking wrist, and you're going to have that until you either cover it up or, do something with it, but it'll be there. So that emotion, that time and place is going to be, there's nothing else that exists that's like it. And, it's, and again, I hate to use, but again, shamanic seems like it's somewhat, and, it's a religious, not a religious experience. It's a sacred experience, but not a religious one, kind of. And
I call it significant.
insanely significant.
Excellent word
Ooh, I like
choice.
that.
Yeah.
That's a good choice. Because
It
whenever,
doesn't have the baggage.
yeah, whenever I see somebody come in with a tattoo and they're like showing it to me, and I say, "Oh, who did that?" I'm always really disappointed when they can't remember who did it, because I want to look up that person, everything, but it me that maybe the experience wasn't for them, or like the best experience or something memorable for them, even if they don't remember the name. If they could at least give me something, because I love to kind of research whoever did whatever that was that I'm in awe of. I like to say, like, "Oh wow, who did that? I'd love to know." And they're like, can't remember. And I'm like, well, that hurts my heart. Like, I'd like to know. Yeah. But hopefully people come out of Jason and say, like, oh yeah, this is my man Jason. Jason did this. He's the bomb. That's what you want, Even if it's years and years and years down the road, they're like, yep, this is Jason Leeser. This is one of the OG tattoos he did on me. That's what you want.
At which point in time I would turn around and be like, ooh, let's get you back in, because we did that 10 years ago. Let's
yeah. I have that relationship with my husband. He has number one, he has trash work all over him from when he was like 18, some dude's basement type deal. And that's always really tough, because people see, they see us together, like, oh, you're a tattoo artist. Did you do those? And I'm like, no, don't look at those.
Like, that is not a reflection of me. I swear.
No, and it's worse too, because we actually met when I was an apprentice, so I have all this apprentice work on him too. So he'll go and say, yeah, but she did do these. And I'm like, also not a good example. Don't look at them. And I'm like, can you just please let me tattoo something fun on you that is a good representation? But he wants stupid stuff. If you ask an 8-year-old what he would want tattooed, it's what my husband has on his body. It's got Diglett, Sonic, and Mario, and Donkey Kong, like all kinds of nonsense all over him. But it's what makes him happy. So, can you do? But I do not
I do kind of enjoy doing those tattoos sometimes. I have one of my clients. We're working on upper arm half sleeve on him, but he is an absolute huge avid fan of 90s cartoons.
Yes.
But like the obscure ones, like Ren and Stimpy, Doug, like the fun stuff that we grew up with, because he's my age. And it's like, well, we just did Powdered Toast Man and Really, Really Big Man. We did those as like the centerpiece on the outside of his arm. And now he wants to add in Log and the Whammo logo from Ren and Stimpy. Right. So those are going to be awesome. I'm like, all right, cool. Let's keep this going. What else are we going to do? Because I know you're eventually going to want to go full sleeve with this. Let's start looking at more ideas, so that this way we can plan things out appropriately. And so right now he's actually brainstorming the rest of his ideas to finish off the rest of his arm. But so sometimes stuff like that can be a lot of fun.
Oh, they really are. And I actually kind of love the carelessness about it in a way, because I'm pretty particular about what I put on me, and I think 98% of the world is. And I kind of love the rebel people of like someone like my husband that's like, I love this right now, and I want to remember that I love this. And, it's kind of this YOLO moment of everything. And I've always kind of seen tattooing as not all that permanent. It's funny that we treat it that it is, because we're like, oh, it is permanent. You can't make a mistake, but it's a dying art form on that person that only lasts as long as that person lives. And I think that's a very short time in comparison to somebody who makes a painting, sticks it on a wall, then it gets passed down to your kid, and then it gets passed down to your grandkid, or things in museums that survive hundreds of years, you know, our stuff is maybe 80, you know, 80 years is probably the max that our stuff is going to survive. And one day there's not going to be anything left of our work besides pictures of it. So I think that's kind of.
Well, you know, there are a couple. Sorry, just real quick. There are a couple people that are skinning people and preserving them as masterpieces.
It's a very freaky form of doing something like that. I kind of want to. I'm fascinated by it. I'd like to see it. I don't know if I will do it, but I'd like to see it.
You know, I read a description of Ed Hardy going over to Japan back in the day, and was it Ed or was it Mike Malone? I don't know. You can look it up. People should look it up. They're fucking great stories. I think it was Ed Hardy, and his description. He went over to the Japanese museum or master who was you know, skinning people, right? And he was like, the description that I remember was. He was like, you know, as you know, I think it was separating the skin from the body. He was like, you know, it was much thicker than I expected. It was very much like a heavy, wet sweater.
Gross.
Super gross.
Gnarly.
I do know of two. I'm fucking fascinated with this shit too. But there are two people that I know of that skin people after they're dead. I mean, you know, after they're dead, clearly. And
you almost let it slip.
So, you know, if anybody's got a really good fucking sweet Philip Blue piece, they better be careful after they're dead. No, just kidding. Everything's voluntary. Actually, I mean, frankly, it costs so much money. People have been putting out insurance policies. Wow. You know, they have a part of their death insurance is, you know, setting aside money to go towards getting themselves skinned. And I mean, all joking aside, you know, you think about fine art. I mean, to your point of the artists that are outliving their, I mean, you know, their artwork is outliving them, you know, and with your art, you know, being on people, the artists that figure out how to transcend kind of like all that. Like, I mean, somebody's going to take these bodysuits and preserve them. And they probably should, right? Like 100 years from now, like, we want these bodysuits to be preserved. I guess, maybe not. I think so.
I mean, I'm actually, I'm pretty fortunate in the fact that I live in Philadelphia, well, just outside of it. And in Philadelphia, we have the Muter Museum.
Yes.
Which is unbelievable. It's a museum of medical oddities.
Yes.
And I mean, you can open up a drawer and it's all things that were found in people's stomachs. And it's like rusty nails, spoons, random weird stuff, right? They have the actual skeleton of the world's largest person that ever lived next to a plaster cast of the shortest person that has ever lived to show size comparisons. They have a whole wall of skulls, and part of a living will that I'm actually in the process of putting together is I would like to donate the tattoos that I have gotten done on my body to the Muter Museum.
Only if I get
what?
I want one of your tattoos. I'm gonna
All
keep.
Right, let me see if I can amend it then.
Art must get her first pick of the other one.
You know, of all of the exhibits at the Muter Museum that struck me, it was the fucking lobotomy fucking ones that I was like, oh no, we're just a biological meat computer, and if you fuck with it, like, I'm just as smart. You could be just as smart as my dog. Fuck.
Yep. They actually do some pretty interesting talks too. I went to one a couple years ago on tattooing that they held at the Muter Museum. That they actually flew someone down from the UK that has their doctorate in tattoos and historical tattoos specifically.
Yeah, cool.
They did a research project where they went through and found an old warehouse filled with medical oddities in France. And some of the things that were preserved in that medical oddities area were actually old tattoos of French inmates.
Wow.
Well, through the research that they did, they were actually able to go through and go back through the French inmate records. And they've been taking photographs of tattoos of their inmates for a very, very, very long time.
Awesome.
And they were able to trace that preserved tattoo back to the photo and the criminal intake record of the person that had that tattoo, and came up with like the whole nine. It was
Yeah,
it was absolutely fascinating.
So no, wait. Now, how did you? What's your connection with the person? Can we figure out how to get this onto the timeline that we have going, or are there
Potentially,
links online?
Let me look up the information. I'm sure I can share it with you. I'll have to find the event listing.
Yeah. I wonder if there's a
But
recording, maybe, or whoever it is that was doing it might be somebody that we could just kind of get back in touch with.
I don't think it was recorded. I do still have the pamphlet from it.
Awesome.
But it was insane because I was sitting in the audience, you know, being a tattooer and being like, oh, okay, awesome. This is going to be great. And looking around the room, standing room only, that the seminar room that it was held in was absolutely packed to the gills. And I'm pretty sure at least half the people in there were either tattooers or tattoo collectors or tattoo enthusiasts.
Yeah.
I mean, it was fascinating.
Well, Philly's got a massive tattoo scene. It's like,
oh yeah.
I mean, everyone's fucking tattooed there. Yeah, but the Muter Museum, yeah, that's a good fucking definitely good call. And if you could find that invitation or that pamphlet and like upload it to the app, that'd be cool. Like, give us a little bit of like I said, we have this the history timeline that we're putting together, and one of the I think Gina, I forgot her name on here, has been looking up. It's like the oldest, records of tattoos and stuff. So there's a couple of PDFs of the scientific kind of, the scientists that are doing this stuff, and it's pretty cool. Yeah, it's really cool. Again, the beauty of the app is like people coming together and contributing. It's like all of a sudden there's this whole there's a whole nother round of detail and history and storytelling and documentation that we could, that everyone's contributing to. And but yeah, so point being is probably in the next week or two, the timeline will start fleshing out a bit, starting with like the oldest historical records that we could find and link to, and yeah, it's fun. That's fucking cool. So like, if you could upload that or we could get a hold of the teacher, like that person probably didn't go away. They're somewhere.
No, they're actually a tattooer in the UK. I forget the name off the top of my head, but
yeah.
Once I can find that event listing again, it was actually fascinating to listen to them speak and all of the research that they did into it. It was absolutely mind blowing.
Yeah, we got. I mean, she might do an interview.
Oh, absolutely.
Ooh. That'd be awesome.
Let's see if I can find it real quick. Don't know if I can or not.
Look at that pretty chrysanthemum.
Yeah, we're getting there.
Nice little trick using that constant width brush.
Oh yeah,
that's genius.
Yeah, just it's actually something I picked up from a seminar I sat in on with Wes Holland from Ink and Dagger, and the transparency layers and how he set everything up. And it makes drawing anything with, long stringy petals or anything like that, makes it an absolute breeze to go through and just say, oh yeah, here's a darker spot that I went over another area. So that means this one's coming down like that. Here's that one's going to go in front of that one. It just makes it real easy to follow it so that you don't get unbelievably confused.
Jason, do you have the first layer of that where you just kind of sketched with that fat blue mercury thing? Oh, nice. Yeah. And what brush was that?
So that is actually the hard airbrush.
Oh.
And what I do is I've got the size set to just a little bit of variability, nothing crazy. I do have the pressure or the opacity set all the way up, but the trick is to go through and turn the opacity all the way down on the brush so that as you do it, it's only going to get to be so opaque. So I could always add, another one there, another one here, wherever I really wanted. But it's where they connect and how they flow that ultimately is the underlying thing that you got to pay attention to. And I'll go through several different versions of this. I highly doubt this is actually going to be the final version of the chrysanthemum I use. I've already done that, twice so far. Here's the first one.
Yeah, how many times you start over? Because
So many, so many
yeah,
times.
it makes me feel crazy. It makes me feel absolutely crazy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm kind of messing with that now, and that actually works really, really well because you can see where you're. I like the tones are on top of each other, so you can see what pedal would be underneath the.
Mm-hmm.
That's smart. Look at that, so pretty.
Yeah, it's a very, very efficient way to go through and draw chrysanthemums. Now, apparently, there's a way that you can use the same kind of a trick to draw like peonies and roses and all types of other stuff. To me, I usually just break those down into super basic shapes, and I'll just sketch, a round petal here at this angle, a round petal there at this angle. This one's going to be coming at you, so you got to keep perspective in mind. So it's going to overlap the rest of these, but once again, I try to focus on flow, form, and composition more than almost anything else.
Okay, I've got a couple more comments from the chat room. And then it is 3 o'clock, so this might be a good time to, after I get through the comments, everyone could let us know just what you're up to in the future. And yeah, well, let's see here. So we have Andre Harris says nice. Barbara Hoover says the design in the top left looks sweet. Not sure who is in the top left for her, but let's see. Barbara Hoover looks like a bubbled skeleton of a large animal or a blooming flower to a sea coral, depending on your imagination. It must have been Jason's, I bet. Thanks for sharing. Hope to see more later. Beautiful tattoos. Okay.
Found it. I found
The
it.
Meter Museum. Jason, you just sent over the Meter Museum. Yeah, we'll definitely
Yep.
put up in the app. So I'm going to put up in the app in the art history. Michelangelo somehow. Michelangelo, I don't think was on the list. And then yeah, I'll definitely
They
add the
did
Meter
take the
Museum.
listing down from the website, but I believe I still have the pamphlet somewhere. But it does mention the event that was listed on Facebook does mention the person that was speaking at it.
Awesome.
So that should give us a little bit of an insight to it.
Sweet. Cool. So let me. I'm going to highlight Brad to begin with, and then Casey, while I'm doing that, if you want to move your camera to show off your artwork, so then when we get to you, we'll see your art. Yeah, check that out. Sweet. So Brad, you're tattooing all this kind of stuff too, obviously, right? You're creating these
Yeah,
tools
I am.
here. Yeah,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, and yeah, and you said that you would be there would be some kind of drawing group coming up here soon.
Well, yeah. I mean,
Talking about some of this.
do you have a time and place? We could either come up with a time and place right now, or we could figure it out offline. But yeah, I mean, basically, if we could find a time for you that's convenient, that you're drawing kind of for your tattoos anyways, or like I said, any kind of convenient time, then we'll just let people know that we'll do it. And we have a couple of video clips. If you upload to the app a little bit, so that people are aware, more, keep you becoming aware of your work, then seems pretty things would be awesome.
Yeah, cool, man. Yeah, I didn't know. I forgot if there was something I was supposed to say as we close out here or not. But I don't really have anything
No,
to.
no, you can just say whatever you want to.
Yeah. I don't really have nothing. Yeah.
Oh,
Well,
Instagram.
You can find me on Instagram, I guess. B.E.
Yeah.
Wooten. That's my name.
What was it? B.E. Wooten?
Wooten. Wooten. Yeah.
And I'm gonna follow you.
Yeah. Put some dots in there, their initials. Yeah. But yeah, that's it.
Sweet.
Cool. Am I allowed to share my iPad? Is that a thing?
Yeah, you want to give that a shot while
No,
we'll have
I don't
Jason close it out. So I'm spotlighting you whether you're ready for it or not. Woohoo! Here we go.
On.
Oh wow, that was funny.
Aha!
Exactly as I said that, I think you
That's
turned
my.
off your camera. Oh, there we go.
Yeah, probably. Let me see if I can my Zoom one on my iPad. Let's see if this one this screen.
Oh, well, that was working. Whatever you started to do was working. But...
See what this. Oh no, I don't want that. I'm just gonna go old school here.
Sick.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, that was
That's
great.
nice. Yeah.
Like what you did with the negative space in it too.
Am I doing it?
Nice.
You know,
Yeah, I've been messing with
camera...
negative space lately in my work. I've been really trying. You're a genius. Let me do it that way. How do I turn my camera? That's a
Well, I
good
was going to say, if you turn it horizontal, then we'll see more of the picture. But it was looking cool.
Okay,
Yeah,
let's try
yeah,
it
there
this
you
way.
go. Yeah, that's great.
Pretty cool.
Oh, that's awesome. Very nice.
Yeah, sick.
Very nice.
Yeah, I'm messing with a lot of negative space. I've been trying to dabble it in here and there and seeing how it translates on skin. Because I did a piece of yesterday or the day before. It was like this negative space burns on this girl's stomach. With all these cool curly cues and everything too. So it was very tedious. I did find it takes me 10 times as long, but fine by me. The effect was totally worth it. But this one was just kind of for fun. I just started messing with this a little while ago with an ugly sketch, and then I was like, well, I guess I should try to be drawing something on this whole drawing group thing. So started to mess with this one again, and I'm glad I did. Now got me back into it.
Awesome. Thanks again for joining. It's definitely cool to meet new people and to catch up. Okay, so I'm going to highlight you, Jason.
Awesome. So I'm Jason Leeser for anyone that might be joining us right now. My Instagram is Philly Inc. If anyone ever wants to reach out to me, ask any questions, comments, anything like that, please feel free to do so. I host these drawing sessions every Sunday at 1 o'clock. You can also find me popping into as many other live sessions as possible throughout the week. I just like to stay active in the community and, throw in my 2 cents, even though it may or may not be worth 2 cents. But, it's part of participation and learning and being active. So if anyone ever wants to reach out to me, feel free to reach out and I'll be happy to get back to you. Also, if you live in the Philadelphia area and you want to get tattooed, one of the best ways to do it, reach out to me on Instagram.
I want to come get tattooed by you and Billy.
Yeah, no, sorry, not happening.
I'm all booked.
Awesome. Well, thanks again. This is the hashtag Reinventing the Drawing Group. So if you've been drawing along and you're uploading somewhere, then hashtag Reinventing Drawing Group. We would definitely suggest downloading the Reinventing the Tattoo app and signing in. It's all about inspirational art and sharing, and we have live events like this going a couple times a week. The sponsor for this show is Inkjet Stencils. Check it out, inkjetstencils.com. Or in the app, you can click on the button and there's all sorts of videos, and it's pretty cool technologies. And then lastly, please consider subscribing to the Reinventing the Tattoo subscription for, I think it's $300. You get the full canon, all the guest chapters, and then Monday exercises with Guy, other subscriber activities, and yeah, it helps make this possible. So thanks again, everybody, and we'll catch up again in the future.
Yeah, thank you. It was a lot. I had a really good time.
Awesome. Cheers.
Yeah.
We'll talk.
Pleasure to have you.